Have you ever had that feeling that your career is just kind of happening to you instead of you being in the driver's seat? Well, today we're going to talk about how to take back the wheel with something called personal development planning. Think of it like being the architect of your own future, creating a detailed blueprint to build the exact career and life that you really want. I mean, let's be real. The world is changing at a wild pace. Industries are getting turned upside down. A skill that was red hot last year might be totally obsolete next year. In this kind of environment, if you're standing still, you're actually falling behind. Constant learning isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's absolutely essential. And that leads to the big question you've got to ask yourself, and you have to be honest. Are your skills keeping up? Are you actively steering your own development? Or are you just sort of hoping for the best, risking getting left in the dust by the pace of change? This quote, right here, really gets to the heart of it all. See, real, lasting growth doesn't just come from outside things, like landing a new job or getting another certification. It all starts with taking a good, hard, honest look inside yourself. So let's dive into our first section. We're going to frame this whole thing for what it is. We're in a race against change. And having a personal development plan is your secret weapon, your strategy to not just keep pace, but to actually get ahead of the curve. So what in the world is personal development planning? You know, it's not about just daydreaming about a better future. It's a structured, organized process. It's a set of deliberate habits and activities that you use to consciously improve yourself. The key word here, intentional. You're doing it on purpose. And here's the kicker, the most important part. This is on you. Nobody else is going to manage your career for you. Your boss has their own stuff to worry about. Taking ownership of your own growth is how you stay relevant, how you stay valuable, and ultimately how you stay fulfilled no matter what the world throws at you. Okay, so if you're the architect, where do you even start? Well, think about it. Every great building starts with a solid foundation. And for your personal development, that foundation is self-awareness. You've got to know exactly what you're building on top of. Self-awareness is one of those buzzwords, but it's so much more than just knowing you like coffee and you hate Monday mornings. It's the ability to see yourself clearly, objectively, to really understand your own internal programming through some deep, honest reflection. And to really get a handle on yourself, you need to look at 5 key areas. What's your core personality like? What do you truly value in life? What are your non-negotiables? How do you think and process information? How do you react when change comes along? And how well do you understand and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others? Okay, so now we know what we need to understand about ourselves. The next logical question is, how? Let's get into some practical tools that can help you dig deep and really analyze where you are right now. The first tool is something called reflective practice. Look, it's not enough to just have experiences. You got to learn from them. This means intentionally looking back and asking, okay, what went well there? What went horribly wrong? What am I going to do differently next time? That right there is how raw experience turns into real wisdom. And our second tool is a classic for a reason. You've probably heard of it, the SWOT analysis. It gives you this incredibly powerful at-a-glance snapshot of your internal world, your strengths and weaknesses, and the external world around you, your opportunities and threats. So let's start with the fun part, looking inward at your strengths. And hey, don't just guess. Be brave. Ask a few people you trust, colleagues, friends, what they think your top skills are. You might be really surprised by what they tell you. And then, it's time for the tough part, being brutally honest about your weaknesses. Where do you need to level up? But remember, admitting you have a weakness isn't a failure. It's actually the first, most important step toward fixing it. All right, now we shift our focus from inside to outside. Let's talk about opportunities. What's happening in your industry that you could jump on? Are there new projects at work, new technologies to learn, online courses you could take? Keep your eyes open. And finally, what are the threats? These are the roadblocks, the external obstacles that could get in your way. But here's where the real magic happens. You connect the dots. How could one of your weaknesses make you way more vulnerable to one of these threats? That insight is pure gold. Okay, you have done the deep, reflective work. You've analyzed yourself, you've got your blueprint, so now what? Well, now it's time to go from planning to actually doing. How do we turn all this amazing insight into a real, concrete, actionable plan? Let's make this super concrete. Let's say your goal is to become a senior full-stack engineer. That's not just a fancy title, right? It's a very specific collection of skills. You need the hardcore technical chops for sure, but you also need those soft skills like communication to really succeed. A crystal clear target is always the first step. Having a big goal like that is awesome, but it can also feel a little overwhelming. You can see the mountaintop, but the path to get there looks foggy. So the real question is, how do you build a bridge from where you are right now to where you want to be? And the answer is the SMART framework. This is how you do it. It forces you to turn a vague wish, like, I want to get better at coding, into a rock-solid plan. Your goal has to be specific. You have to know how you'll measure your progress. It needs to be achievable, not impossible. It should be result-based, and you have to give yourself a time-specific deadline. This is how you build the road, step by step, to that big goal. Now, as we're wrapping up, it is so important that you get this one final point. This whole process, it isn't a one-and-done project that you finish and then forget about. Personal development is a cycle. It's a continuous, lifelong journey of growth. The real key here is to make this a habit. Every time you notice a gap in your skills, or whenever you set a brand new target for yourself, you run through the cycle. Analyze, plan, act, and then reflect. It stops being a chore and starts becoming your own personal engine for growth. I want to leave you with this really powerful thought from Stephen Covey. He said that all things are created twice. First, they're created in the mind, and then they're created in reality. Your personal development plan, that's the first creation. So be incredibly intentional about the end you have in mind. Your future is not something that just happens to you. It's something you build, one brick at a time. You now have the tools, you have the framework to be the architect. So really, the only question left is, what's the very first step you're going to take on your journey? Thanks for tuning in.